Hello folks, and welcome to Telling Tinder Tales, a show where people get to tell their interesting dating stories with me, Chris O'Neill.
And me, Thomasin Lockwood. On today's episode, we have 3 guests calling in to tell us their tales, and we'll get to ask them some questions about it.
Our guests are Mark, Alice and Christian. Say hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Excellent. How have you been getting on, Thomasin?
I've been good. I don't know if it's just doing the podcast, but I've had a real hunger for dates. Like, it's been like Mumbo number 5 over here, honestly. Like, for anyone who's new to the podcast, like, I've never done online dating before until really recently. There's one guy I was chatting to on Hinge. I can't remember how the conversation got onto this, but I do remember at one point he was like, oh, in my 20s, I was really insecure about myself sexually. And I'm like, but part of me was like, good for you for like sharing that. And I imagine you're not telling me that unless you really are free from it. If you can talk so freely about it, surely, right? And then he was like, I was like, oh, well, you know, like I spent a lot of last year really getting to know myself. I did some like tantric kind of workshops. And he was like, would you ever go to a sex party with me? Bear in mind, I've not met this man once. That's the tone of voice I was reading it as. And I was like, okay, look, I've got to go. Good night. And he was like, good night, little one. And I got I don't know, Chris, can you imagine what it is that I got?
Oh, I think you got the ick.
Yes! He's finally learning the lingo. I love it. I got the ick.
Yeah.
It was, first of all, I'm not your little one. I'm not your little one. If anything, I'm medium. But just, it was just, what an awful thing to say to someone that you don't know. Like, my friend was like, oh, my partner sometimes calls me little one. I'm like, you've been going out 4 years? Like, we hadn't been on a first date.
Ugh. That's my reaction there, yeah. Ugh. You dodged a nuclear missile there. Really well done on that one. Okay, fair enough.
But let's see if I get more hope out of our stories today. I can't wait to hear what our guests have. Let's start with our first one. I would love to introduce you all to Mark. Mark, whenever you're ready, tell us where you're calling from. And please tell us your Tinder tale.
Oh, thank you for that intro, my little one. I'll be honest with you, I don't know where I'm calling from. I've got a gig in Gloucester and I'm in my travel lodge and it's in a place called Stone House, which I didn't know existed. But it's very pleasant and the internet seems to be all right, so I'm very excited.
Good.
So would you like to hear my Tinder tale?
Absolutely.
Please do, all the way from the travel lodge in Stone House.
Actually, it's weird. I think this actually occurred not far from here. I can't actually remember the exact place. It was quite a long time ago. It was basically when I first started using Tinder. And I don't use Tinder now. I use Hinge. So I don't know if this is still how it works. But back then, it would match you with people where you are. So because we're comedians and we travel around a lot, I'd start matching with girls all over the place. So I started chatting to this girl that was, I'm going to say Gloucester. I don't know where it was. I'm going to say Gloucester. And we were chatting for ages, like maybe a month or more, but couldn't meet up, obviously, because I lived so far away. And then I happened to be having a gig near where she lived. And at the time, I naively thought, that's a good idea. Why not invite her the first time I met her to my gig? So, and we'd vibed well before that. I don't think we'd spoken on the phone, but we texted a lot. And I thought I was quite keen, you know, I thought this seems like a nice girl. And then first I met her was in the car park of this random sports club where this gig was. And it's one of those things, I don't know if you guys have experienced it. Well, of course you have. It's online dating. As soon as you meet them, you're like, no, it's just not. I don't know if everyone's like that, but for me, I can know straight away. As soon as I meet someone, I'm like, yes or no, whether I vibe with this person. And I didn't. And I was like, oh no, this is bad. And then we went into the gig and there were probably 10 people there. So one, I'm kind of glad it wasn't someone I really liked because that clearly shows I'm not doing very well. And So we had this awkward thing, and when you bring a date to a gig, which I've never done since, it was the only time, but they have to kind of be on their own in the room because you're sort of in the separate area, and it wasn't a good gig particularly, and as in the audience weren't great, and then I went on, and I'd say a minute in, she started heckling me. I know. Now, looking back on it, I think looking back on it, I think she probably thought she was helping because it was I imagine if it was a gig where I was smashing it, she probably wouldn't have chipped in. But she was doing all sorts. She was offering up alternative punchlines. She was groaning, and I hate groaning. And there's one point where I started doing jokes about having a girlfriend, because obviously it's an act. And if I've written great jokes about having a girlfriend, in my act, I'll have a girlfriend. And then later on in the act, I might say, actually, guys, I am actually single, and then do some single jokes. So I didn't even think about it really. I started sort of saying about having a girlfriend. And she went, I hope not. He's on a date with me, like this. And what that does is it ruins all the jokes I'm about to do because they know I haven't got a girlfriend. And also, it now makes the audience question, has he got a girlfriend and he's on a date with some, like...
Oh, God.
So my character is in question. But anyway, after, I think we hadn't actually made a plan for after, but if it went well, we could have gone for a drink or something. But I thought of an excuse, and then I didn't really sort of. I did a nice. See, I don't like upsetting people. I really hate that. So, because I think she thought it was going all right. I think she did. Maybe she was trying to show me that she could do what I do. I don't know. But anyway, we didn't see each other after that. That's my story.
Wow. Thank you so much, Mark. Wow, what a starter off to. That is amazing. I have a few questions, as I'm sure a lot of people do. I mean, my first thoughts, right, is that you would hope that she was trying to help. Because if not, she's just like, this guy sucks, and you're on a date together. But I totally understand what you mean about the heckler who thinks they're helping. They're like, I'm part of it. My sister came to a gig of mine where she tried to help. Like I'd have a bit when I'd say to the audience, like, oh, anyone here a classical musician? And if they said yes, then I would play with them or I'd move on. But because for like a split second, no one in the audience said nothing, she went, me. And because it was really dark, you know what it's like on stage, right? You can't really see anyone unless it's just 10 people, and maybe it's a bit easier. But I said, like, I couldn't see that it was my own sister. So I was like, what do you play? She went, nothing, it was just joking. I'm like, oh, good one. But I would ask, like, how do you as a comedian distinguish between heckler who's like drunk, heckler who's just like thinks they're helping, is socially unaware, or like, I don't know, like heckler who's just like got it out for you? Like, how do you tell the signs?
I think it's if it's continuous, then it's not try. I think if it's non-stop and you can't, whenever you if you do a put down or anything, if it keeps going, that's then what I'd call they need to be removed.
Like the DVD commentary.
Yeah, because there's no dealing with them. Sometimes if you embarrass someone, they'll be quiet, and sometimes, like, if you sort of draw attention to it, someone in their group might sort of nudge them and quiet them down. But if it's that non-stop, like so drunk that, you know. So did you think about maybe at one point get rid of her,
give it back? Yeah.
I thought about giving up comedy.
Oh
dear.
But tell you what is an advantage of it, though. I actually, because on the Hinge profiles where you can talk about like previous dates, I use that in my Hinge profile, and it always sort of gets questions from people. So actually, I've used it to an advantage.
I love that. I love that. Now that is a professional comedian. He takes his material and he uses it.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Chris, any questions?
You're a redhead, Mark, right?
Correct. Do you want me to prove it?
No. Do you typically date other redheads, or does hair color matter to you?
Wow, that is interesting you bring that up, because I have never dated a redhead, but that girl was. But I didn't know. But maybe that's what it was. Maybe it's the clash, because I don't think it should be allowed. So
why not?
Because you'd create a monster if you had children. Can you imagine how red his or her hair would be?
Wow.
On a side note, the prevalence of red hairs in the community is declining because they are being bred out, apparently.
Or they just keep heckling on all their dates. No one wants to call them back.
True, possibly. Anyway, nevertheless, that was.
Shall I tell you a fun fact? There's a national day called Kiss a Ginger Day.
Oh, I know.
And that is on my birthday every year. And do I get kisses? Do I F?
Excellent.
Nonsense.
Well, Mark, yeah, okay, fine, I can live with your disappointment. Anyway, Mark, that's been brilliant. Thank you very much.
Let's open the questions to the others. Sorry, I'm still not over the Kiss a Ginger Day. I like to think that it was a birthday present for you, Mark. I like to think that was...
You'd hope so.
Yeah. Alice, do you have any questions for Mark?
Yeah, what did she do? What was her occupation?
That's bad, isn't it? I have no idea. But it wasn't working in the library, I can guarantee that.
Oh, right. I see. Good. Okay.
And I'll go over to our other guest, Christian. Any questions for Mark?
Did you have any temptation to sort of brutally put her down and kind of just end the date like that?
The trouble is that my... So that kind of response isn't really my style on stage. So it would be a real jump out of character. And I imagine the trouble is, if I did that, I think there's a good chance the audience would turn on me.
Yeah.
And then I'd be the bad guy in this situation. So no. But what's quite funny is I still have comedians that are on that bill mention it. like I was with Dave Ward the other day, and he said, "Do you remember when you brought your girlfriend to that?" I said, "It was not my girlfriend."
You could turn it into a regular thing. You could have a kind of an audience plant in every show.
Could be a TV show, couldn't it?
A TV show, yeah, about a girlfriend who won't leave you alone. Might win prizes.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, Mark, that's quite brilliant. Thank you very much. I think we better move to our next guest and get some information from Alice. Alice, where are you ringing from or calling in from, and what's your story?
Yeah, hello. I'm basically, it looks a little bit like I'm sitting in the basement here. I am almost. I'm outside of London in a little town and at a friend's house. I'm from Austria, so the basement fits quite well here, actually.
Crikey.
Oh, wow. It's coming in hot.
Go on. Your story, please, Alice.
Okay, so I had a date. Similar. I had a date. I managed to get a date. I combined a date with a gig.
So just for the podcast listeners, Alice is also a stand-up comedian.
Oh, yeah. I'm also a stand-up comedian. Sorry. And I was very economical. I'm just like, okay, you know what? I do a gig in this town and then I have the date after. But I did get a hotel room for myself. So that was, I was careful. I was, but then I was there the whole day in the town. I mean, it was in Brighton. It was, and basically I was thinking, okay, what do I do the whole day? And I thought, you know what, I will have a massage before the gig and before the date. It's a long day. So I went to have a massage to relax a little bit. But they said they can't give me a massage because I had back surgery 6 months before. But they said the only massage they could give me is a head massage. So I was like, okay, well, I have So I got a head massage, but there is a lot of oil in that. So suddenly when I get out, my hair was really oily and I looked really greasy and I looked like I needed a shower really badly. So I'm just like, oh, Jesus. But then I had to go to this gig where this date was waiting as well. And so we first met for a coffee. I looked greasy hair. We had a coffee. It went well. She came to the gig. The gig was okay. She didn't heckle me, which was a plus. But then it got really weird. So we got really drunk after the gig, and we went from bar to bar. And then we ended up in her place. And then she kind of wanted me to do sex talk in German.
Oh.
And I'm just and I was suddenly sober again. I was like, you don't want this in bed with you, right? So, and the thing is, German, I don't know, do you find this language sexy? I don't know.
Absolutely.
It does, yeah.
It's not sexy.
But I tell you, the thing is, our word, the German word for sex, is actually called Geschlechtsverkehr.
Okay.
And if you translate that back into English, it means genitalia traffic. So
I love that.
So maybe she gets turned on by that, but I would definitely be like, oh my God, what am I saying here? So we in Austria and Germany, I don't think any one of us does any sex talk. And then she's like, okay, well, do it in English then. And I'm just like, Jesus, English? I can barely speak English. What do I do with sex talk? So it got really stressful and awkward. And so I did, in the end, I ended up waking up in my own hotel room in the end. So, with my greasy hair. And
Okay.
That was my beautiful day.
That was interesting. Okay. So she was not put off by the greasy hair, clearly.
She was not, no, but I think she might have been quite drunk quite early.
I see. And just, I suppose, generally, have you encountered many people in, shall we say, intimate situations who've asked you to use German?
No, I've never. But what happened another time is that somebody was talking to me and I just didn't understand her. And I kept asking, what was that? What was that? What was that? And then I'm just like, I have to pretend I understood now because I just don't understand her. So I don't like when people talk to me, and people have talked to me before. And I just find this really irritating.
Sorry, when you say you don't like people talking to you, are we talking in a sexual context or just generally?
Well, it depends.
I see.
No, I think generally it's fine because generally, we have good articulation. But in sex talk, everyone starts to mumble. They're like "Whoa," and whispers. And it's just like, I don't understand what.
Okay. Fair enough. All right. Thomasin, have you any questions for Alice?
Yes, I do. First of all, genitalia traffic. Traffic just is so great to me because it implies that the genitalia are on their way somewhere else, and you're getting a jam right here. So like, it's just I'm like, where are they going? I don't know. I love that. I love the German language. My question to you is there a language for you that is unsexy, and what is it? And is there a version for you that like is?
So unsexy, I think some languages, they might be more harsh. I think if somebody talked in Russian to me, "Преподаватель," I would be a bit scared. But I guess that's German for some people, right?
Yeah. I always wonder where does English fall on that,
I think the danger with English, like I said, is that people start to mumble, that you just don't understand them. You need a little bit of hardness, I think. You need kind of like, but not too hard. Maybe Spanish.
Same.
Sorry, just for the record, what was that Spanish? What was that? All right.
Right. That means peel the potatoes. I don't know anything else, but
I do relate because I used to date an Italian, and like, oh my gosh, like he could say anything like "crati fagioli, ci sono nel bicchiere," and I'm like,
cappuccino.
Yeah. And he's like, I don't know, like you could just be saying anything in that language. Okay. Let's open up the floor. Christian, do you have any questions for Alice?
You might not have stuck around long enough to know, but was there any residue left behind? Did you kind of leave a greasy trail? Residue. That's a lovely word.
What was with? Sorry, I feel like we're doing sex talk here. I just struggling to understand the question.
I was so worried about where that question was going.
I was very worried.
Me too. Me too.
We're talking the hair situation here. Okay.
Yes, from the head massage.
Possibly. Nobody followed it, but I woke up alone the next morning.
Did you leave like a grease patch on the pillow?
Hopefully I did. Hopefully. She deserves that, right? I mean...
That's what you get for demanding I speak in my mother tongue. How dare you?
Exactly. How dare you, yeah.
Mark, I would love to hear if you have any questions, comments.
Yeah, I've got a couple of questions. What was your excuse for leaving?
Well, I think I said I have to get an early train and I have to pack or something. I can't really remember. I was drunk again then, possibly.
But did she get annoyed?
A bit, yeah, a bit. She just wanted me. I'm just like, can we just have sex? Do we need to talk about everything? It's just like, I mean, I have talked the whole evening, so that's me done now. I don't know.
Wow.
Very good. Excellent. Okay.
And my final question for you, Alice, I'm wondering because you're Austrian, right? Do you ever get annoyed if people on dates or that mistake you for being German?
I clarified it quite quickly. I always say I'm the better German. No, because Germans and Austrians, they have a little bit of a battle between them. So, no, we love the Germans. Yeah. But the Austrians, I think we got away a little bit more innocent, right? Yeah. Because I think everyone associates German or Germany with Hitler. Although he was Austrian, he was ours, we are responsible. So we have all the bad people that we ship to other countries and we kind of got away with it. Yeah.
Is Beethoven Austrian?
Beethoven was German, Mozart is Austrian.
Okay. I want nice, famous Austrians,
Red Bull is from Austria.
There you go.
After Mozart, Red Bull. Schwarzenegger.
Oh, okay.
And that's it. And me, that's all the good ones.
Excellent. Well, I think we can move on now to our final guest, Christian. Whenever you're ready, tell us where you're calling from and tell us your Tinder tale.
So yeah, I'm just calling from Kent, where I live. So I'm just in my dining room at the moment. Nothing as exotic as a travel lodge or associated hotels. I'm afraid I can only dream. Yeah, so basically I'd managed to kind of get a date with this girl and it was all kind of looking great until the night before I went out and I got really, really smashed drunk and woke up kind of round a mate's house, probably asleep in the kitchen or in the bath or something like that. And then I didn't have time to go home and get changed or anything, so I just kind of borrowed the t-shirt and off I popped to this date. And it turned up the girl was looking really, really amazing. She'd really, really dressed up, to the nines, and she looked great. And I thought, oh, cool. And I think I was still quite a bit drunk at that point. And so, we went out on a date and kind of got on fine. Everything was cool. Went to a few pubs. I've got sort of reactivated all the booze that was already in my system. Got far, far worse drunk. And by the end of this, this girl looked really, really amazing. After about 6 more pints, became, this Hollywood movie star. So the date went pretty well. And then, off I popped onto the rest of my evening. We arranged to meet about a week later. On meeting her the second time after work, when she wasn't really, really dressed up and I was stone cold sober, I realised that I just really didn't fancy this girl at all. So as you do, I sort of didn't make a big deal out of that and thought, all right, we'll just do the standard. I'll buy you a drink, you buy me a drink, and then we'll go and just go out for a bit of a chat and stuff. And then we were walking through Soho on the way to find somewhere to drink. And as a kind of, just one of the back streets in Soho, there's a kind of some club somewhere with a big line of people outside of it. And just heard this kind of like slap noise and looked around and there was like a pigeon laying like flat on its back on the floor, kind of wings half flapping. And this pigeon, I thought, well, how is this pigeon? Like pigeons don't fall out of the sky habitually. They tend to stay up there or walk about on the floor. So I was a bit puzzled by that. So I thought, well, maybe it's kind of nectar pill that was found somewhere, or
Call him a taxi.
Something's happened to it, or I no idea what's happened to this pigeon. But and all the people that are queuing up for this club are there. They all look down at the pigeon as well. Everyone's a bit like, what the hell is this? And then out of nowhere, this seagull swooped down out of the sky, landed next to the pigeon, and then took a huge bite out of its face. It was all like that, and then kind of looked up at the queue of people and us, and kind of like did this kind of looking around thing with his face all covered in blood, and as if to like challenge everyone to stop me if you can kind of thing. You could see the bouncers looking at the pigeon like, what do we do with this? Like, what next? Because they've got this big line of people. There's half dead pigeons. There's claret everywhere. It was terrible. And that was kind of the death knell, really, for the date in general. We kind of at that point just sort of looked at each other and like, well, this is clearly an omen. The chemistry really wasn't there. So we just decided to call it a day. Both went off on our separate travels.
Wow.
That was that.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Christian. That was horrifying. I love your impression of the seagull after it's like killed this pigeon, like covered in blood, spreading its wings out, looking at the crowd like, are you not entertained? I love it. That is very descriptive.
That was exactly it.
Oh, I mean, I've thoughts, but okay. My first question is, did you? And I don't mean this to sound like I'm scolding you. Did you not think of like dressing up for the first date, or like not drinking so much the night before?
I probably thought of it at some point around point 2. But then that thought must have become submerged.
Is that a regular thing for you to show up like bare minimum to a date? Is that how you're like, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be?
Yeah, I mean, people need to deal with the reality. There's no real point in me trying to dress it up.
She's there like dressed to the nines and you're like, stop living in a fantasy world.
But I'd never ever been on a date with anyone that well dressed in my life before.
I'm thinking like ball gown at this stage. Like what do you mean by like well dressed? Like tiara, like
no, just heels, skirt and a really pretty top. That was it. I mean, normally people turn up to date with me in like trackie.
That's your type.
Fair enough.
I don't know if this is the vibe I give off.
Well, thank you. Chris?
Well, I was just wondering, Christian, if at any stage you were thinking of doing a heroic intervention and trying to save the pigeon.
Oh, hell no. No way. I think, well, number one, I think it was definitely beyond saving because its head was...
All right, that's enough. Thank you.
I didn't look too closely, but there was a lot of blood. And 2, I'm a massive coward, so that would never happen.
So, Mark, have you any thoughts on this?
I was just thinking, given how much you've been drinking that night and the night before, are you 100% sure it happened?
Well, no. See, on this part of it, I was actually sober. It was the previous initial date that I was a bit.
Maybe you need to drink more.
I think it's a good insurance policy against most things. Yeah.
Very good. And Alice, have you anything to add to this equation?
Yeah, I was wondering, are you really sure it was the same person you met on the second date, or did you by accident
That's a good
go
point.
with someone else?
I have no idea. She seemed to recognise me. She might have just been bluffing and lonely.
Right. Very good. Okay.
Great.
Fair enough. That's it, really. Before we sign off, we better get people to tell us about themselves in terms of where we might see them if they're performers or whatever. So, Mark, we start with you. Where can people catch up with you?
I've got my comedy special is on YouTube now. So that's my previous tour. That is now on YouTube. It's called Quip Off the Mark. So go check that out.
Excellent.
And very good it is too. I've seen it.
Oh,
excellent.
thanks very much.
We'll pop the link into the comments. Alice, have you anything that you want to plug or mention or whatever?
So I run a comedy night, a monthly comedy night at the Phoenix Arts Club in Soho in London called Laughing Labia. And I'm starting to tour my new show, Live Like a Criminal. And I have published a book. It's called The Anti-Self-Help Book. And in this book, there is the sex talk in German, if you want to learn something. And that's available on Amazon.
Nice.
So,
Okay. Once again. And Christian, have you anything you want to mention before you go?
No, I mean, I'm not a performer, so.
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
Okay, so and where are we? What are we doing?
I think we're just saying our thanks. If you've enjoyed this podcast, please do give us a review, give us a follow. It really makes a difference to an up and coming podcast like us. You know, like the big podcasts, they don't need your reviews. We do. So if you loved us, please give us a 5-star review. And to thank you, I will speak dirty talk in whatever language it is that you like. And if you didn't like us, well, send a violent seagull your way. So that's what you'll get.
Please say goodbye, folks.
Bye, everyone.
bye.
Bye.
You've been wonderful. Thank you very much. Goodbye and good night. Bye-bye. Telling Tinder Tales is hosted and produced by me, Chris O'Neill, and Thomasin Lockwood. Produced and edited by Lucy Regan, with music by Kinkas Moreira. It's a Jesters Comedy Dublin production and is no way affiliated with or endorsed by Tinder. If you have a story to tell, please get in touch. Details are in the show notes. And if you like us, instead of swiping right, follow us on Instagram and or TikTok at Telling Tinder Tales.